Welcome everybody back to Laying the Points with Luca Rosano. We are doing a special in-studio edition, remote edition of the show, as we will be looking at a couple of NBA games that went down last night. We're going to be looking ahead to the games tonight. I'll be making my best bets. But speaking of my best bets, not really a good night for me. I could definitely do a lot better. I went 1-2. My only win was the Celtics actually covering -1. It looked like they were going to lose, but they did come back, storm back to beat the defending champ, the Milwaukee Bucks, to tie up that series. The Warriors did win, but they didn't cover 10.5. I got that one wrong. And then the lone hockey game I touched, I told you to take the Stars plus 1.5. They did not cover. They lost that game by more than 2. So we are now 1-2 going into today's picks. But before we get into the picks that I like for tonight, we're going to start with that Boston Celtics series, man. This has been a fun one, and I think the series is destined for 7. But the Boston Celtics, they get a much-needed Game 4 victory. They beat the Bucks 116-108, and this was a Celtics team that had to come from behind and win this game. And they got tremendous play from Jason Tatum and Al Horford. As Al Horford, he turned back the clock in this one. He had 30 points, 8 rebounds. Jason Tatum had 30 points and 13 rebounds. And both these players both had posters against Giannis. Jason Tatum had a poster on Giannis on May 7th. And then last night, Al Horford posterized Giannis. As you look at the play here, absolutely taking it to the rack. Giannis goes flying, and Al Horford showing a lot of emotion there. I did not think Al Horford was going to make this big of an impact, but that trade for Horford is proving to be a big one now more than ever for this Boston Celtics team. And you look at the Celtics, they were able to put this game on ice thanks to JT. Jason Tatum is proving to be one of the biggest players, biggest stars in the NBA today. I think he's that guy. I've been raving on and on about Tatum, as you saw him here close out the game with under 4 minutes to go, hitting a cold-blooded shot, cold-blooded three. Jason Tatum's big time. And I knew this guy was destined for greatness, and I would consider him a borderline superstar. Let's see how far Tatum can bring the Celtics team, because I do think the Celtics team will win this series. But Jason Tatum, to me, is a guy that I want on my team. There was a lot of talk before amongst Raptors fans that they were making the argument that they'd rather have Siakam over Tatum. I know that was a while ago, but that still irks me to this day, because put some respect on Jason Tatum's name. This guy, he is not only super talented, he is not only an all-around player, but he is big time. He's a guy who I trust with the ball in his hands late in a game. So it was great to see JT get his. And this Boston Celtics team, they got to be feeling good getting out of Milwaukee with a split. It's 2-2, going back to Boston with a chance to take the 3-2 series lead. And I still have Boston winning the series. I was a little bit worried when the Celtics went down early, because I thought to myself, if they go down 3-1, that's going to be awfully tough. But I think they have the Bucks right where they want them. And I think this is where Milwaukee's going to hurt, not having another ball handler, another scorer like Middleton. And we see how good the Celtics can be defensively when they lock down and they have enough offense to get theirs. And if you're getting production, the same type of production like you're getting from Al Horford, man, this team is going to be awfully tough to beat. So Celtics get a big W. They win me my lone bet from last night. And I think they're going to have a ton of momentum in that Game 5. So I do have the Celtics still winning the series. And look out for JT, Brown, and company in a pivotal Game 5 as they look to get the series lead over the defending champs. Another game that went down last night, the Golden State Warriors. This was an interesting game, man. This was a game that came down to who the hell was going to make a shot, because both these teams were struggling mightily from the field. The Warriors did end up getting it done. They are now up 3-1 in the series. They actually trailed in the first 47 minutes of Game 4 before taking their first lead. But man, this was tough to watch. Shots weren't falling. Guys were struggling. But it was Stephen Curry. It was old, reliable Stephen Curry who came to play in the second half. You know that meme of the guy playing a video game where he's like laid back in one picture, and then the next picture he's got his body frontward, ready to go in the game? That was exactly Stephen Curry in yesterday's game. First half, struggled. Second half, he was dynamite. And one of the big reasons why the Warriors ended up coming back and winning this game against a Grizzlies team that was without their best player in John Morant. As you look at Stephen Curry, he actually made history, becoming the first player in NBA history to have 500 career three-pointers made in the playoffs. This is absurd. Just to put into perspective, number 2 on the list is LeBron James at 432. So Steph Curry is not only miles ahead on this list, but he's going to continue to build on this list to a point where nobody's going to come close to this. Maybe 20, 25 years from now, somebody will emerge. But right now, nobody is going to come close to this. Maybe the only guy I can see coming close to this is his teammate, Klay Thompson. But Stephen Curry had a great second half, and he needed to because Klay Thompson, I'm actually worried for Klay. He has not had a good postseason at all. And I would have been ready to sit here on this show and say that the Warriors might now be the team to beat in the West, but I'm not going to give them that edge just yet because Klay Thompson, he needs to step up. He played in 38 minutes last night, 6 of 20 from the field, 0 of 7 from 3 turnovers. This is not the Klay Thompson we're accustomed to seeing in the postseason. The Warriors are going to need big game Klay in the conference finals and beyond if they want to win a championship. So I don't know what's going on with Klay. Might be still shaking off the cobwebs, but they're going to need a lot more production from Klay Thompson if this Warriors team realistically wants to win the chip. But regardless, it's scary to even think that the Warriors are one win away from the conference finals without Klay being at his best. What happens when Klay is at his best? It might be RIP for the rest of the league. But the Memphis Grizzlies, they really disappointed in this game. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of expectations placed on them. The line indicated that. I mean, they were what? A 10.5-point favorite or underdog, pardon me. So the fact that they did keep this game close is a win in itself. But they had this game won. They had this game on the doorstep. And if they could only survive this game without Ja, you tie it up at 2. Maybe Ja can come back for game 5. You give yourself a chance. But the Grizzlies shot themselves in the foot, especially Dillon Brooks, who right now is the biggest talking point amongst NBA Twitter for all the wrong reasons. As Kevin O'Connor put it, I'm baffled Taylor Jenkins played Dillon Brooks for 39 minutes. What's the point of having such a deep bench if you're leaving a shot chucker out there? There were other options. Brooks made so many terrible choices and shots that helped the Grizzlies lose a winnable game. I agree. I thought Dillon Brooks, his shot selection down the stretch was horrible, and he was just shooting his team in a bigger hole. So that was a big missed opportunity for the Memphis Grizzlies. As you look at this funny meme here by the Dan Le Batard show with Stugotz and Dillon Brooks in crunch time. That's pretty funny. Carlton from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah, it honestly looked like that. I know there are a couple of questionable calls that did not go the Grizzlies' way. There was a push-off foul on Bane on Curry late in the game, which resulted in a foul. You could have made the argument that Bane didn't touch Curry, so that could have been the go-ahead bucket with about 25 seconds left in the game. But all in all, the Grizzlies had the Warriors right where they wanted. I believe the Grizzlies were up by double digits going into the fourth quarter, and they just could not close this game out. They made a lot of bad choices from the field, a lot of poor decisions, and it was late in crunch time where they really missed having John Morant. So this series is done. I credit the Grizzlies for fighting. I credit what they've done this season. Very big surprise team. But this series is over. There's no way the Grizzlies come back from 3-1 down against the Warriors, even if Ja's available for game 5 and on. I don't see it happening. Too big of an obstacle to overcome. And the Warriors have been humbling the Grizzlies, which has been great to see because I don't know about all y'all, but I was getting sick and tired of the Grizzlies celebrating like they won the championship after every single win. But I think it's going to end here. The Grizzlies, I can see them maybe winning another game, but really, I think the Warriors close it out in 5. Like I originally said, my original pick on the show was Warriors in 5, so I'm sticking with it. I think the Warriors close it out in Memphis. And let's not forget, this Grizzlies team may be a little bit overrated. The Timberwolves should have been here right now. The Grizzlies shouldn't even have gotten past the first round because they faced a team in the T-Wolves that blew, 3 leads? So I saw this coming. A lot of people were maybe delusional thinking that the Grizzlies could pull it off against a very established Warriors team, a team that has been here before many times, but I didn't buy into that at all. I called the bluff. I did not think this Grizzlies team had what it took. And they're going to learn from this, of course. They're going to be back stronger than ever next season. They still got a very talented team, deep team, one of the deepest teams in the NBA. But they still have ways to go before they are deemed a title contender, as many people thought they were going to be this season. Pump the brakes. This Grizzlies team, they got served a little piece of humble pie. and they're going to have to take this on the chin. So I do think the Warriors win this in 5, and they ultimately won the series, in my opinion, with last night's win. So Warriors up 3-1, Celtics tied at 2-2. But look, we got some great series going on in the NBA right now. The other 3 series outside of the Warriors series sees 3 2-2 matchups, 2 of which are happening tonight, and we are going to be making my picks for tonight. It's now time for my best bets of the night. We're first going to start with the NBA games on tap. We got Sixers taking on the Heat. The 76ers, a 3-point underdog. I'm actually curious to see if the number changes a little bit more because Kyle Lowry's not playing in this one. And I hate to see it as a Raptors fan, but Kyle Lowry is going out sad right now as Miami is going to be missing his services. But you know what? It might not even be that big of a loss. With all due respect to Kyle Lowry, his numbers when he was actually playing didn't even make that much of a difference. So expect a motivated Miami team tonight. They're going to be at home. Jimmy Butler's coming off his best game of the series. But the Sixers have been damn good, man. Particularly Embiid and Harden, who have had some really solid numbers in the last 2 wins of the series. They took care of business in Philly, making this a series. Let's see if the Sixers can get out to the 3-2 lead. And I actually think they do. I think the 76ers have all the momentum in their corner. I do not trust the Heat right now shooting the basketball. I don't know if Duncan Robinson's going to get any minutes in this game. He hasn't gotten minutes all series. I think the Sixers, they will come to play. I think Embiid's going to be ultra pissed off because he didn't win the MVP. Ultra motivation for him. I think James Harden's going to follow up from what he did last game. And I think the difference here is going to be those role players. You know, Danny Green scoring, 20-plus points last game. I think having a guy like him heating up at the right time is going to be huge. Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey. I really like this Philadelphia team, and I really think they're clicking at the right time. So give me the Sixers +3. And if you want to even go the extra mile, take them on the money line. You get great value with them as an underdog pick. Next game, we got Mavericks taking on the Suns. This is an interesting one. The Suns are actually 6-point favorites, and we don't know what's going to happen in this game. I'm so confused. I really don't know what's going to happen tonight. This could go either way. I'm more definitive with my Sixers pick just because of what I've seen. But this Suns game, it's going to be an indication of what happens next. Like, are we going to see the Mavs take what they did in the last 2 games and use it as momentum and win this game? Or is this going to be a typical spot where everybody thinks, oh, the Mavs are actually going to get it done, and then the Suns just run down their throats with a convincing win? I mean, we saw it in the Pelican series. Now, I know you're comparing apples to oranges when you compare a very good Dallas squad to a Pelicans team that, let's call it for what it is, had no business being in this playoffs. But I am interested to see which version of the Phoenix Suns are we going to get. But that being said, I'm actually going to go with the Mavericks +6. I'm a guy who likes to ride with momentum. I go with the eye test. And in the last 2 games, particularly the last game, the Mavericks look like a team that's playing with a lot more confidence. And I don't know if Chris Paul can bounce back. There's a lot going on with him. Not only did he post his worst game of the playoffs, but he had the incident happen to his mom. That's definitely got to still ruffle his feathers. And the Mavericks got so much great production from the role players. And I know they're going into Phoenix, a much different environment, and that crowd's going to be rocking. But I do think the Mavs find a way to keep this close. I'm going to say the Suns win, but the Mavericks cover the 6. That's my pick for tonight's game. And then in my final pick of the evening, I had to, of course, talk about this one. There's hockey tonight, folks. One of the biggest games of the season tonight when the Lightning take on the Leafs, tied at 2-2. History is on the Game 5 winners' side when it comes to winning best of 7 series, and that pertains to the NBA and the NHL. This is going to be good. And this is a typical case of what I just talked about. Are we going to see what we saw last game transpire here tonight? Or are we going to see it go the other way? As the Lightning dominated the Leafs in the Leafs' worst game of these playoffs, of this first-round series. But are the Leafs going to bounce back? Are they going to show us the Leafs that showed up in Game 1? Are they going to be fueled by that home crowd? Are they going to be ready to go? How is the psyche of Jack Campbell going to be after letting up a ton of goals and actually having to be pulled out of the game? This first period is going to say a whole lot about how this game's going to go. I'm actually going to say this game is going to be the closest game of the series because it's been crazy. Every single game has been so lopsided. Whichever team wins by a landslide. They win by at least 3 or more goals. And here's a fun fact. The team that has scored first has won every game of the series. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know who's going to win, but I will say the Lightning cover the 1.5. They are going to be the slight underdog tonight, but I just think the Leafs blew their chance when they could have went up 3-1, and I did not like the way that they lost that game. The Lightning are Stanley Cup champs, 2-time Stanley Cup champs for a reason. This team feeds off adversity. This team thrives off moments like this where they got to go into hostile environments. They got the confidence, and more importantly, they got the mindset needed to win big games like this. So I'm not going to make my official pick to win because I still don't know, but the Lightning will make this a game. This will be a 1-goal game. So give me the Lightning plus 1.5. And just like that, those are my picks for tonight. Just to quickly recap my 3-team parlay. If you want to put some money on this, be my guest. I like the Sixers plus 3. I like the Mavericks plus 6. And I like the Lightning plus 1.5. So I'm taking all underdogs tonight. We're not laying the points. We're taking every single one of these points here on Laying the Points with Luca Rosano. That's it for me, everybody. As always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow us all over social media at The Parlay. And we'll be back with another show tomorrow. Best of luck with your picks, and we'll see what happens. Take care.